Boom had a really big event this year. They made it to the front of the previews catalog.
Yeah.
Can you kind of like explain to me like how did that come to be? That's
Sure. Well, I guess first is it helpful to explain what it is.
Yeah.
Right. So, like we talked about, Diamond is the only distributor for comic shops at this point, and so it's a really important avenue of distribution and way of selling books for comic book publishers. They have this catalog previews, which is 500 plus pages, and essentially the shape of that catalog was largely locked in 1996. And so in 1996, there was a big kind of distributor battle, with Diamond coming out on top. And part of the reason they came out on top was they signed these exclusive deals with the key suppliers in the industry. So DC and Marvel ultimately signed exclusives, Dark Horse and Image signed exclusives. And so those four foundational publishers who had the largest market share at the time got spots in the front of the catalog. And that did not change until 2008.
Wow.
So for more than 10 years, if you're a retailer, the catalog signaled to you
what's important to buy.
This is important.
Of course.
Right? And with Marvel and DC, you look at it and you go like, well,
obviously,
right? But there's real power in being first, right? And everybody behind that was in alphabetical order.
Yep.
Right? So,
there's only so many dollars to spend for a comic book store. And if you're going through the book, this is the important stuff because it's first. You're going to go through the book because This is your lifeblood.
And maybe there's some publishers in the back that you know of. Maybe you're looking, for Dynamite, or you're looking for Valiant.
Absolutely.
Or you're looking for Oni, Fantagraphics, whatever.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you've got a much smaller piece of your budget set aside for that, right? So in 2008, IDW moved up to the front of the catalog, and Ted Adams had really grown that company in a really impressive and tremendous fashion over the previous, I think it took him about 5-6 years to get up there. And then in 2018, Boom and Dynamite got moved up to the front. And so what it means for us is ultimately that it's a signal to the retailers and to their customers that Boom is now in the company of other publishers like Image, like Dark Horse, like Marvel, like DC, like IDW. So it's only the second time in 20-some years that's
amazing.
Yeah.
It's a testament to how much Boom is, the quality is there, and people are demanding these books, and people are fans of the content you're putting out.
Yeah, and I think a bunch of different factors go into this. Obviously, it's never just one thing. I think editorially, we've been focused for many, many years on generating work that gets us accolades and awards, right? So we were pretty routinely in the mix for Eisner Awards,
Harvey's,
Awards,
of course,
and GLAAD Awards, and things like that. Diamond Gem Awards, which is like the ones that are voted by the retailers. We have always focused on like leveling up the licensing partners that we have, leveling up the creative talent that we work with. So if you look at, from I can speak from 2012 when I started. From 2012 to 2015, we really I think leveled up a lot of the creators we were working with. All of a sudden, we were working with not only Mark Waid, but Grant Morrison and Paul Jenkins, and we were bringing in artists like Ryan Stelfreeze and J.G. Jones and George Perez signing an exclusive with us. And these things are signals to the industry that you're really leveling up and punching above your weight class. And then likewise on the license front, we went and in 2012, Adventure Time had just taken off and was really heating up when I stepped into the company. So we had a great suite of titles from Cartoon Network. We were working with Fox on things like Sons of Anarchy, which when we launched it was one of our biggest launches. We were able to acquire licenses like Power Rangers, which that first issue of Power Rangers outsold everything that month except Batman.
Wow.
And it was because it was Batman 50. So it was a big anniversary issue, so we came in right after that. We outsold everything that Marvel published that month. And I think what was noteworthy about that was that Power Rangers is a property that's been in comics on and off since its inception 25 years ago.
But it's never had an impact like this.
No, it's never been a top 10 book. It's never been a thing that drives conversation. And so I think that's some of the things that helped, put us on Diamond's radar, thinking about like, okay, if we're going to move some publishers up, who are the publishers that would warrant this kind of a change? And we were doing crossovers with IDW and DC and Dark Horse. And so when you're now playing
with the big boys,
you
become a big boy.